All right, gentlemen, ladies, cohorts, co-conspirators. What do you want to call it all? Bunch of shitheads. Yeah, that'll work too. Good to see you all tonight.
What up?
Welcome to Shenanigans number 2.
Heck yeah.
And for anyone who is actually looking forward to a show from me tonight, I do apologize. I'm still fighting off this cough that I picked up late last month, and you'll be shocked how rapidly my voice has been deteriorating.
Mm.
Lots of tea and honey there, mister. That'll help you with a little bit of lemon. I know it gets old, but you piss a lot and it's not bad for you.
What up, good people? And again, if you like the tunes you hear tonight, that is our one and only Jeffrey Paul doing the intro tunes. What is that song called? Damn it! Not my monkey, not my circus.
Right. It's not damn it.
It's not damn it.
By the
Damn it.
way, everybody needs to give props to Mr. Outlaw there. He's the one that came up with that countdown and put that together with Mr. Jeffrey Paul's music. Bravo, sir. Good show.
I appreciate it, brother.
Got some talent with graphic design there, Outlaw.
Just a little. So let's open this up. And I want to ask this, and this is a serious damn question, guys. Do you guys feel that squirrels actually do enjoy eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches?
Depends on where they're located.
I mean, seriously. I mean, that stuff sticks to
No,
the roof
I'm
of your
I'm actually
mouth.
being I'm actually being serious when I say that. And if
Hmm.
you leave one out at the park, yeah, you're probably gonna get a squirrel in it. If you're a thought leaving it on your balcony, well, let's just say that may or may not be the appropriate location.
You might get a raccoon then.
I mean,
Well,
I'm a squirrel, and I can vouch. Yeah, I love peanut butter sandwiches. I love it. It's delicious.
So, as the banner says, do you agree? Skippy, Jif, hippie, organic crap, creamy or crunchy, does it really matter as long as the frickin' strawberry jam's good?
Oh, it's got to be strawberry jam. I mean, grape's good. Grape is
Grape,
okay, but
grape's okay, especially if it's homemade grape.
yeah, but strawberry just hits different, man. It's a
Yeah.
lot better.
I've had some good blackberry, I've had some good raspberry, but strawberry always seems to be the best.
Oh, well, near me they just opened up a Smucker's plant, so
Oh
I
boy.
eat Smucker's strawberry jelly all the time. This shit is so good.
Well, and
Probably
I'll
not good
throw
for
one
you.
at you guys. I'll throw one at you that is also one of my favorites. It's apricot pineapple.
Apricot.
Apricot pineapple jelly. That is some pretty tasty stuff.
I haven't had a taste for peanut butter or jelly since I was somewhere in the age range of 12 to 14.
Oops. Oops.
Oh,
Damn it.
uh-oh.
We need to quit doing that.
What's going on?
Gentlemen, I'm sorry. That was two of us clicking add remove, add remove.
So, in other words, it was a monkey with the football?
Two of us. And we
Oh,
were fighting
man.
over it.
I'll tell you something that's really good, and you probably wouldn't think it would be. Is what is it called? Pepper jelly.
Oh, yeah.
Pepper jelly is delicious, man. God, that stuff's good.
Has anyone ever tried bacon jelly?
No, I've heard about it.
I have not.
I saw it a few times when I was still working at Wally World. I was never dumb enough to try buying a jar of it.
On Outlaw's point about the pepper jelly, if you ever get a chance and you can find it, usually comes out of New Mexico or Arizona, but prickly pear jalapeno jelly is really quite good, and it's not hot. It's just got the flavors, and it is tasty. And if you've never had prickly pear, it's actually quite good.
Is it
So
sad that as you were saying that, the first thing that came to mind for the end of that sentence, maybe you can hire the Redonkulous Regiment?
so there's at our local farmers market. There's a person who sells strawberry jalapeno jelly.
Ooh, I bet that's tasty.
Oh, that stuff is so good. They won't tell me how they make it, but I mean,
Well,
I'm
of
sure
course
it's not
not.
hard.
No.
It's not hard.
Well, you're
But
probably just making your standard strawberry jelly and adding jalapenos into it. It's how
yeah.
much and when.
Oh, I did see a little bit of Hollywood news that our buddy Outlaw might enjoy.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Apparently, our good buddy Mr. Burton, first name Tim, is
Mhm.
involved in a remake,
Mm.
Attack of the
Another?
50-Foot Woman.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus.
If they add in a squirrel that's at least 35 feet tall, I'll be a happy man.
Well, but now here's my one question, because we all know what Tim Burton likes to do to costumes.
Mm,
On
Yeah.
the title character, are they going to be glass cutters or are they going to be Antarctic glacier cutters? Inquiring minds want to know.
yeah, that's a good question.
Well,
Hopefully, it's nothing to do with Madonna.
oh God.
No,
I'm not.
that'd be Attack of the 50-Foot 304,
Yeah,
guaranteed.
yeah, that's true.
I'm not going to lie. I do like my tall ladies, but I don't know where that comes from. Honestly, I really don't.
You have an
But
Amazonian finish.
Mm,
probably, yeah.
maybe Sandel Bergman from the original Conan.
I
She's
don't know.
actually quite tall.
I just
But
I like the giant ladies. I don't know why, man. I'm just weird like
but
that.
yeah, I saw that come across my news feed and was like, oh, I'm gonna have to tell Outlaw about this next time I'm on a stream with him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why I like my giant ladies. I'm just sick in the head, I guess.
No, 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 not at
No,
all.
everyone's got their thing, Outlaw.
That's probably one
Um,
of the mildest kinks I've ever heard.
but the only thing I'm wondering, and again I'm probably a little perverted, but will the clothes stay her size or will they rip like normal clothes?
Mm,
Well, and here's the other thing you got to think about. The original one, if memory serves, the story took place in a coastal city, and she acquired sailcloths to
Yeah.
protect her modesty. Modern world, that's not quite so common.
Yeah.
yeah.
So are they
She
going to have to get
doesn't
very creative with the editing?
she doesn't have to have her clothes come off because it doesn't have to be a porno, but it would be nice if you seen a little ripping and tearing for realism.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. At
And
least
again,
them wear and
all I'm
tear.
asking is all I'm asking is the logistics question of it.
And of
Mm.
course, I'm a little bit of a nerd, so the science part of it's going to be intriguing. Like, okay, what caused this? What are we looking at here? Was it a virus? Was it a chemical spill? I don't know.
Hormone imbalance.
Hormone imbalance, yeah.
And let's be honest, somebody grows that big, there's going to be some imbalance there.
Yeah.
So, St. Louis Arch, give us a little background on why you'd be sad, because their show is probably going to be 20 times better than this one.
I'm going to have to watch Skid and Jeff Paul after this is over. Did I give you a Jeffrey Paul? Need to listen to more music from him?
That might have been. That might have been. Or are they doing something tonight?
Because man, I found myself listening to his music all day yesterday and today for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love his music.
Well, his instrumentals are awesome, and I did like his version of the Cars video or the Cars song.
Oh, he's sad because it won't be live.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Real gone.
All right.
About that
Now we
song.
got it. Now we got it.
Talking about that song, real good, real gone. Dun, 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 dun. From the movie Cars.
No. His Living in Stereo song.
Oh,
That's the Cars. That was the cover of the Cars.
I got you. I forgot about the Cars.
Honestly, I wish I had a third of Jeffrey Paul's skill when it came to anything musical.
Shit, I just wish I had some rhythm.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
joke.
if you ever saw me marching, you would know why it is I say I don't have any marching or any sense of rhythm whatsoever.
Yeah, I had the same problem, man. I did. I can keep step, but shit, you get us in a line of jumping jacks. I was the guy that was always jacking everybody up, and then we got to pound our face.
Shit.
Okay,
I mean,
did you ever play Mass Effect?
I never did.
There was a running joke throughout the entire trilogy that Commander Shepard couldn't dance. It didn't matter if it was male Shepard or female Shepard.
Mm.
People who watched me try to march in a lot of those idiotic ceremonies would say, "Wow, you must dance as well as Shepard does."
And that
oftentimes when that would come from a
insult, I'm
senior
sure.
NCO, my response would be, "I don't know. Every time I try to go out to a dance, you call me to go pick up a drunk."
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
I never get the chance to practice, you bastards.
They never much liked it when I threw that in their face. I don't know why.
Of course not.
Oh,
there's Nate.
Hey, Crusader.
he is 30
Welcome
pound
aboard,
brain.
Nate.
what's going on? Literally just got home 15 minutes ago.
Oh man,
Shit.
This is pretty laid back. The only thing we've really brought up is, do squirrels really like peanut butter sandwiches? And that's about it.
And then
depends.
why? And then maybe Crusader Nate can answer it. Why does Outlaw have a giantess fetish? I don't understand it myself. I have no idea why, but I just like giant ladies. I don't know why.
Well, first off, phrasing.
Phrasing.
No. Okay. Well,
I mean, when you say
don't get me banned, man. Archer, you know.
you want problems? This is how you get problems.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's be
honestly,
honest.
it's
Our entire
been-
community is problems.
yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, Nate.
I'm just trying to mentally unwind at the moment.
Well,
Yeah.
you can do that here.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, just kind of. My brain's just kind of scrambled. I'm tired. Just kind of.
You know, it could be
Relaxing.
because of Alice in Wonderland when I was a kid. Now that I think about it.
So you think it's the pills?
Yeah.
Or was
I
it a
don't-
cake that she ate? I can't remember.
I don't remember. That was like 30 years ago. Like
I don't
30,
know.
31 years ago, something like that.
So,
Outlaw, you'd have to find it on one of the old Xboxes,
Yeah.
but look up the video game Alice Madness Returns. It'll be right up your alley.
I'll definitely check it out.
So, what's going on with you guys today?
you know, honestly, it's been quiet for me. I've been enjoying it. Actually ordered some new beer components that I'm going to put together tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got a starter yeast going.
Nice. What kind of yeast?
It's just Saf Ale 05.
Oh,
You know, American ale yeast. Nothing's fancy.
yeah.
Injection.
Well,
That's
it's
a great yeast. It
Well,
really
yeah.
truly is.
And I'm doing another, pale. This will be pretty much a pale or blonde ale, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. All right.
Still trying to figure out how to do it. Not go full Czech lager, but kind of leaning towards that lighter with a punch.
Now, are you looking for like a more hoppy bitter punch, or are you looking
Nope.
for a higher alcohol punch, or what kind of a punch flavor are you looking for?
Well, the higher alcohol punch without the hop too much. Though
Okay.
this recipe that I've got that I put together today, I'm not so sure. What was my IBU? I think it was pretty damn high, and I lost my sheet. It was like 47 or something.
That's what she said.
So it's going to be kind of hoppy.
Yeah. There is, if you really want something that's got a kind of a, it's more on the paler, honey color, like a golden ale, not a red ale or a brown ale, but more of a lighter golden, kind of like that.
Well, this was my last attempt, and this one's not bad. It's just kind of doesn't punch you in the face.
I'm not
It's just not what
sponsored
you
by.
were looking for.
No, it's not quite what I was looking for. It's tasty. It's drinkable. Don't get me
Oh
wrong.
yeah. What you can do, and this is one that I've done in a little manipulation that I've done myself, is Northern Brewer has their White House Honey Ale.
Mm-hmm.
But the recipe is great as is, but what I've done is I've actually sourced 2 pounds of local wild honey.
Okay.
And not use the honey that they put in the kit.
So what you're telling me, excuse me for a moment, I'm gonna walk off camera.
That's okay.
But go ahead and keep talking.
But your room looks far better without you in it. Just kidding.
Well, it's true, it does.
Right.
Now,
Anything
now,
to
if I
improve
could
the
just
stream.
if I could just get a double-breasted bed warmer to take my seat when I walk away, that'd be all right. So you're talking about something like this.
It's very similar in color. Oh, yeah. The beer actually comes out very similar to that in color.
You know what this is?
Yeah, that's wild honey. That's wild source
Idaho.
raw unfiltered honey. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I've got 2 of these. These are half-gallon jars, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I recognize the old mason jars. I think I have 6 cases of those in my basement.
I still use mine pretty regular, and I used to do a lot more canning than I do.
I actually, Tommy, you and I need to have a conversation. It may be a stream-worthy version of doing some pressure canning. That's one thing that I've never done, but I'm going to venture into this year.
Okay. Do you have a pressure canner yet?
No, I figured I would ask someone. I figured I would ask someone or get into it a little bit better so I know I'm not buying something and then turning around and having to buy something different.
Right.
Boiling water will seal cans, by the way.
Well, yes, of course it will, Jamo. And by the way, welcome, and
welcome.
Feel free to jump in at any time, my friend.
Well, you guys were talking about yeast infections, and I was going to chime in like, hey, I had 2 of those. But
that's just Mando.
No, it all depends. Like, we had one when my dad had his Shine distillery. We had one that was it was a cut off 55 barrel drum. We used a tire to seal it and then bolted it down. But the goal when you boil it is to only boil it long enough to where you don't cook anything on the inside. Because basically your whole goal is once it's out of the hot water and into semi-cooler air, you'll hear a pop and then it'll seal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
but like
that's a different type of preservation.
Oh, you guys are talking about like beer cans.
No, we're talking actually produce canning.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about
you can do it in the oven as well.
Yeah, it's a little hit and miss.
Yeah, that's from what I've seen. It's hit and miss. I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of homesteading, a lot of homestead people
Mhm.
that do a lot of like canning their own vegetables and doing meats and doing other things like that.
Right.
And what I want to do is I want to learn how, and almost all of them they say it's like so many pounds per square inch of pressure for 60 to 90 minutes at certain temperatures.
Right.
And the canning kettle I'm looking at has variable pressures on it. You can do 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 pound let offs. The lid will actually
Mhm.
lock on, and you
Right.
can go and you can set it to which one you want it, and then you just basically boil it at that until that it hits that pressure and maintain it there for a certain number of minutes from what I've read. And then
Okay.
once that's done, you pull it out, you let it rest, and then the lid will pop and seal shut, and then you can put it on a
Mhm.
shelf for 1 to 2 years, is what I've read.
Okay. Let me fill you in on the rest of that now,
Yeah.
because you're absolutely correct on pressures and whatnot. So when you're talking about pressure canning, and I'm not sure exactly what you were going for with your dad, Jamo, but let's just say that would have been hit and miss for survivability after you ate it. But anyway,
No.
most of the time with pressure canning, especially like things like green beans or low acidity fruits, like any kind of ground fruits, tuber vegetables, carrots,
Yeah.
tomatoes, even, especially the low acidity tomatoes.
Yeah.
You want to get their core temperature to 212
Okay.
for 20 minutes or so in quart sized jars.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what that does is it kills any botulism producing
Yeah.
toxins. And that's your whole
Yeah.
goal. It's not to
Well,
cook it, it's to kill those toxins.
yeah. And that's kind of what I'm starting. I started a couple months ago, like reading and looking into it.
Hmm.
Like jalapenos is a certain temperature for a certain number of minutes at a
Yep.
certain psi. Carrots are different.
Hmm.
Making applesauce and putting apples are different. Applesauce is different. Pressure
Yep.
and time and
Well,
tomato. All that stuff is all different times and pressures and
and
even
Right.
doing like canned beef, canned venison, things like
yes,
that.
meats are completely different. Yep.
Yeah, and
Meats are easier, by the way.
They are. They are.
okay,
One of the big things you've got to realize is your acidity levels, because you may not need to pressure can anything if your acidity levels are correct.
well,
Um, the acidity levels will kill anything that can create botulism or other toxins that can harm you.
the thing that I'm kind of questioning
Hmm.
is one of my favorite things to do is I'll like even when I do like beef soup bones, elk soup
Hmm.
bones, venison soup bones. There's always meat on them. I'll throw
Yes.
them on. I'll throw them in my smoker. I'll take the meats. I'll put them in my smoker with a little bit of seasoning on them, and I'll take them from frozen to 165 degrees.
Hmm.
Pull them off my smoker. Throw them. I have the Gigawart brew kettle. I
Right.
have one of those that I make. I throw all my bones in there and I put it at 165 degrees
Hmm.
for about 18 to 30 hours. The
Yep.
marrow, everything leaches out of it. The bones come out just as soft as a sponge.
Hmm.
And then what I'll do is I'll take like a big slotted spoon. I'll sift everything out of there, get everything
Hmm.
out of the broth, run the broth through some coffee filters, like clean everything out of it, make sure there's nothing in it, and then I'll put that. Right now, I've just been putting it in my refrigerator,
Hmm.
putting it in mason jars. I have a spare refrigerator. I'll put those, put everything in. It usually gets thrown in jars right around 190, 200 degrees
Hmm.
into a sanitized jar, and then I let them sit on a shelf for about 12 to 18 hours till they're warm to the touch,
Hmm.
or just they're cool enough that I can handle, and then
Right.
I throw them. in my spare refrigerator in my basement, and I get probably I usually use them before 3 to 6 months time frame passes.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can can that and make that
You can
bone
you can make
broth
that.
shelf stable.
Mm-hmm.
But what I
You,
also want to do is I want to put some of the meat inside of the bone broth and make that meat shelf stable so I can have a thickened meat and gravy in a jar that
right.
is shelf stable. That's already been
Yep.
smoked, that's already been cooked, that's already been processed.
Yep. You can do that easily with pressure canning. And
Okay.
that's where I would say definitely use pressure canning. Hot water bath isn't going to be quite enough to make sure that everything is dead.
Yeah.
So the best way to can, and the reason why my dad did it that way, no matter how if you're pressure canning, you need two things: you need steam and water.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
can put your own pressure meter on top of the canister
Yes.
to
I don't
gauge the pressure.
recommend it.
Um, we ate shelf stable shit for years when I was a kid doing it that way.
Oh yeah. No,
Okay.
no. The only reason I don't recommend what you're talking about is because you're making a bomb.
Well, no, that's
Yeah.
why it has a vent. So you can
Sure.
actually buy those old school pot lids from the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
usually they always have a turn valve when
Yep.
you were pressure cooking anything. So what you could do is you drill a hole, you put in the pressure gauge, and then, just used to use a flathead screwdriver. You just open it a little bit to let pressure out. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
have to watch it like crazy. That's one of the key things, but once you get to that steam pressure, I think depending on what you're canning, usually it's 5 to 10 minutes at a constant pressure. And
Yep.
then once you open it, you take the jars out, and you'll hear them all pop in sequence.
Well, and you've got to let it cool
Yeah.
down before you pop the pressure off of it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Here I have a website I will share. This
Nice.
is what I recommend getting because these are non-gasket pressure canners made in the United States.
Excellent.
100%. They're not cheap, but they are probably some of the best ones I've ever seen, and it will be my next purchase on a large quantity.
You know, this is very important to learn. This was something that I explored on my streams months ago. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Nate, me and you've talked about
Yeah.
doing streams about this. I think this is one of the directions, like we were talking about last night with Red
Yeah.
Pill and Mick. This is one of the directions that I think we really need to start teaching people to try to go in, is to try to can your own food, especially with what's fixing to happen. So,
Yeah.
In the
Well,
hell.
once we get this done, I don't want to interrupt you guys. We can hop back to Tommy, hop back into your beer.
Oh, no,
Um,
no, no. This is perfect. This is exactly what this is. This is off the cuff. Let's just talk. That's what this is all
yeah.
about.
Well,
Oh,
I got an extensive, brewing library under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing what I've roughly been brewing, I would say, little over 700 gallons of beer a year.
Yep.
oh, dude.
More than I do.
So, yeah, when it comes to like brewing beer, I can roughly tell you what type of sugar to use, what type of yeast to use, what type of a wort starter to operate on, and the only thing you really need to play with would be your hop blend that you like flavor wise,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of variation in the flavor. You have to deal with your specifically what type of yeast you like to use.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Put Jack
I'm
on.
curious to see what you got
Well,
in mind for a pressure canner.
oh, I'm
I
trying to
got
get it up, but it's just kicking my ass at the moment. I'll get
That's
there.
what she said.
well, I ended up getting all my lab results in earlier
Yeah.
today.
Everything good?
Well, so Friday I fell out at work. I threw up blood.
Ooh.
That's not good.
So I went to the hospital again. So so they did all the blood work, and then I told them about remember I told you guys I was on that metabolism booster that I basically OD'd on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when this weight loss competition started on January 4th, I was 263 pounds, right?
Yeah.
I weighed in at the hospital at 229.
Ooh.
That's not good.
Mm-mm.
So the medication's still going through me, but the biggest problem was they looked up the brand that I bought, which I'm not going to shit on them live on YouTube because God only knows I don't need a
Right.
fucking lawsuit.
Right.
Right.
It's known for intestinal and chest scarring.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, I can see that.
and it can also scar kidneys. So basically, what I was peeing and throwing up was the aftermath of one, taking too many because I read the dosage wrong.
Mm.
So now they got me on that same steroid, which I talked to Tommy a bit last night. It has me hyped up like fucking Superman.
Yep.
Oh yeah, those will.
Yeah. So, but as far as blood work, white blood cell count was completely out of whack for a minute. All that came back negative. So
Good.
they think it's my high white blood cell count was because the metabolism was throwing all my organs off
Yep.
because it basically sent everything into overdrive along with energy. So it's like the doctor said you have an infection without having an infection because your body's overreacting to everything you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he goes, so they put me on this fucking liquid. I'm supposed to drink it every 7 hours, and that's going to rinse out the rest of the metabolism shit I took.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said I should see a decrease in weight loss. But he said, by all means, if you're hungry, especially because of that metabolism shit, eat. He
Mm-hmm.
goes, don't care
Yeah.
about the weight. You can always lose weight. Fucking eat.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Well, keep on it, dude. Be careful with it, and
Yeah.
oh yeah. But yeah, when he basically saw that I lost 34 pounds in a matter of 22 days, that was a little
That
concerning
ain't
to him.
healthy, man.
no, that is not healthy. That
Yeah,
will
Not at
that
all.
can
that's a little
cause.
extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's sad is when I was in high school, when I wrestled in high school, when I mean I didn't do it. Obviously, I'll never do this shit again. So one of my kidneys has actually somewhat been through failure before. So I wrestled in the 160s, but I wanted to be at 155 for regionals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went on a liquid diet for 6 days.
Yep.
And I lost 27 pounds in 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
That's
And I was right
Dude.
at that was so it was actually the same kidney in high school, but I went through almost complete organ failure over that.
Yep.
Still took second at regionals the next year because I couldn't fucking do it that year.
Right. No, I did the wrestling thing, and I know sucking weight. Oh
Oh,
fuck.
yeah.
And I was within 5 or 10 pounds. I never had to
Oh,
do
yeah.
that much.
You know
but
what I don't miss about wrestling though? Honestly, the one thing I don't miss, I cannot tell you guys how many pounds of unflavored fucking chicken I ate when I wrestled.
No. Yeah.
So hang on, Tommy, you said that you don't miss sucking weight.
That's what you called it.
Yeah.
Well, no. Think about the phrasing and think about the group of people you're with.
I know.
Yeah.
Right. So
But
coach,
That's a
it
phrasing
doesn't matter
statement.
here. It doesn't matter here.
all right, so how about this? When you weight cut instead of suck weight, so basically it was like when you're on you wrestle or any wrestling coach can explain it's literally an exact science, right? So when you only liquid diet for 2 days, it throws your testosterone into overdrive because now you're not collecting proteins.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I had for 6 days was popsicles and water,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what happens when your testosterone goes into overdrive, your metabolism goes right up with it.
Right. And you
Mhm.
burn everything.
Yeah. So
Well,
basically it burns it to a point to where even trans fats won't stick.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
the the problem you have with doing diets and doing crash diets and fasting and things like that is the human body, especially the brain and the neurocognitive system throughout the entire body, operates on what they call a sodium ion channel. All the nerve endings within your body will maintain a 0.07 millivolt charge. And when the nerves actually ground, that's what sends your nerve pulses and things like that from one nerve ending to the other. When you
Right.
start messing with things like that, with your vital salts and fasting and only putting glucose and water within your system, is you throw off that balance with between those neurons and causing problems in the nerve firings of every type of nerve in your body all the way through to your brain. And when you do things like that, yeah, you can cut weight really quickly. But what will happen later on in life if you've done that repeatedly, especially during your formative years, is that can actually cause neurological problems later on in life.
Yeah.
Neuropathy, it can cause a number of other things, loss
Could
of
that ex-
sensation in different limbs.
Could that explain the current president?
No.
No, he's
That-
just retarded.
No,
Well-
it's even beyond that. He's just Alzheimer's.
Well, no. Well, the one thing that I find absolutely amazing is the human brain. Once the human brain fully develops between 25 and 26, when the myelin sheathing on all the nerve endings actually solidify and harden up at that point in time, what happens is when the human brain hits roughly the 52 to 58-year-old mark, that myelin sheathing that wraps and insulates the nerves actually starts to break down, get brittle, and actually starts falling apart and causes neural problems and short-circuiting nerves, so to speak, in layman's terms. And you actually start having a neurocognitive decline, usually starts showing on an fMRI or in a CT scan between the ages of probably 52 and 58. Memory and motor function and cognitive function usually starts showing delays roughly between 60 and 64 years of age. And at that point in time, it's just completely irreversible. There's nothing you can do. And the older you get, the more the neurons, the insulation on the neurons, so to speak, starts falling apart, flaking apart, and causing a lot of your memory problems, hearing problems, loss of sensation, loss of taste. Your body is the nerve endings within your internal organs and other sections of your body start losing the sensation of when they have enough micro and macronutrients to be able to function, which will then in turn cause problems with eating. People don't like food, they don't get hungry. All these different problems all start in so many different ways in the brain. And when somebody reaches around the age of 75 to 85 years old, the brain is in basic cognitive decline at that point in time. Memory, motor function, balance, coordination, all of that stuff starts falling apart. And a lot of that is responsible due to the, how do I simplify it? The way that the DNA within the nerve endings within the cells start actually replicating, and they keep having more errors and shortcutting themselves and trying to pull auto-correcting while they try to maintain themselves and for the cells to function. And so the cells begin to die off and start having malfunctions, so to speak.
Right. Well, that's why God made cocaine.
No,
No,
something else.
that's something completely else.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, that is very good. No, so
So Crusader, is that part of why the
Yes.
telomeres are considered to be so important for neurocognitive
Yes.
decline?
Yes.
And
So-
should I explain what the heck a telomere is for people who don't know what the heck it is?
I know what it
Sh-
is.
Yeah. I mean, that's going way down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of keep it simple.
Yeah, and bear in mind, I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence.
Oh,
It's
no,
just
God,
one,
no.
it's one of the It's one of these
Thank
things.
you, Mando.
We're talking medical shit here.
I stumbled on that a few years ago while doing research on something else for a
Shit,
personal
sorry.
project,
Yeah.
and that led me down a rabbit hole that I don't regret going down, but I regret there's about maybe 5 people in my circle that I can actually have conversations with that actually know what the heck I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So basically, moral of the story: don't get old.
Like I said
Get
last
old
night, Outlaw.
correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well-
a better statement. Get old
Don't-
correctly.
Yeah, get old.
Like, for those that didn't listen last night, one of the statements I made was that life is a terminal illness.
Yeah, true.
Well, everything on this
There's nothing you can do to avoid it.
everything on this planet's trying to kill you, and to include the oxygen you breathe.
Oh yeah,
True.
definitely the oxygen.
Yeah, that is true.
But
And then there's
Well, the old-
JMO.
Or the old
Yeah.
saying, getting
yeah,
old
I
is
might
not
kill
for the
you
weak.
first before the oxygen. Shit.
Right.
Or the old saying, getting old is not for the weak.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
So, I actually had an interesting conversation earlier today. So,
Okay.
one of my cousins, not that I like to admit this, is an IG model, right?
Okay.
Okay.
She's actually a rather famous one. So, I was kind of talking to her about like how much it's actually changed her because she doesn't run an OnlyFans. She has no desire to.
Hmm.
Now, granted, she puts on her spandex shorts and her fucking workout shit because that's her life.
Right.
Right.
So I'm kind of gathered in the question. So is she still just attention grabbing, or is she just showing other women how they should be?
I would
So
yes.
say both.
she doesn't. Well, she doesn't get in her comment section when people say snide ass shit about her body, right?
No.
She's not praising people for saying dirty ass shit to her,
Mhm.
which they do a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't put up with a lot of it. And her big thing is she just likes to show her exercises. Unfortunately, you know, because I even asked her, I was like, yes, but the camera's always around the rump area.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, yes, but when you sell workout clothes, every woman on earth right now is all about ass. Before it was all
Yep.
about tits. And I was like,
Yep.
fair enough. And she goes, unfortunately, that's what sells. If I could just do a workout video where it's from the side and they can't see nothing, I'd rather do that. But when you're selling a product that accentuates a body part,
Mhm.
only certain camera angles work.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I wouldn't put her in the attention grabbing. Like, she's, how can I put it? She's muscular but feminine, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like, she's
No, it
one of the
does.
sweetest women you'll ever meet, right? Completely feminine. Like, but she's got a neck tattoo because that was just a part of her thing when she was in the. How can I don't want to name the country. When she was in the military in another place on Earth.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, my question, I guess now is where does that put her on the scale of other IG models who kind of crave the comments and the attention? Does that set her on the other side of the spectrum, or would that still make her a part of the ongoing problem?
Uh,
Honestly, if she's not selling it for sex,
No.
I would say she's not on the dark side of the spectrum.
Okay. Yeah, because she
Um,
doesn't
yeah,
have an
she's
OnlyFans. She's got
right.
a website dedicated to workout clothes. That's it.
Right. She's still going to get pilloried for
Oh, yeah.
doing what she does, but she is still on the more Puritan side of it.
Yeah.
So to call her a fucking thought is probably wrong.
Right, because I mean, like, so her and my other cousin. All right, you know what? Fuck it. They're both from Russia, right? One lives in
Okay.
South Carolina. She's, I believe, in California now. But they were both 6-time judo champions in Russia. The one that does the IG stuff mainly, she competed in both the male and the female judo champions and won both.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's kind of a mix-up because she's not a whore, but if you called her one, she'd probably kick your fucking head off in a very literal sense.
Well, being judo, it wouldn't be kick your head off. She'd get you into a hold and pop your head off.
Yeah. Well, she also
See-
did like Russian jiu-jitsu. She's pretty much like the definition of I wouldn't want to piss that bitch off
Sure.
kind of girl.
Your cousin sounds a lot like or the best squad leader I ever had in the army. That one NCO that I've told you guys about multiple times, who's level 4 combatives. Normally one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, but if you ever piss her off, she would fold any one of us into a pretzel knot, and then go, "When's PT start?"
Oh yeah. Like
And get up, man, child. Let's go.
So when she first got here in 2013, right about there, 'cause she was still a teenager, she actually tried joining the UFC at the age of 15
Mm,
and would have made it, except on two conditions. One, she was too young. You have to be 21 years or older, especially if you're going to fight for money.
right.
Right? But she also kicked too hard.
Yeah.
So basically, the way she's always worked out, and it was even confirmed because I read the letter from the UFC medical team. She kicks so hard, if she hits you anywhere from your head to your toe, there's about a 98% chance she's gonna shatter it.
Right.
So imagine Joe Rogan's kick with a lot more flexibility and way more putback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like this bitch kicks hard. So, but no, I was just wondering like where on the spectrum she would lie because I mean, don't get me wrong, she still sells a product. She still unfortunately has to do the camera angles to sell the product, but she's not selling herself.
Like I said, and wouldn't you guys agree? This puts her on the Puritan side of the spectrum. She's not necessarily a thought. She's definitely eye candy,
Oh yeah.
but she's no freaking OF girl.
No. Fuck no.
I would go so far as to say that needs to be an individual person's perspective on it,
Mm-hmm.
because from what you're describing to me, she sounds like a woman that I would have a great deal of respect for because of my own history. But by the same token, I can also understand where some individuals, I'm not going to mention any particular names that we've all spoken to on streams before, who would have a much more hardline approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to fall on individual opinion and individual tolerance level.
Well, and this is one of the things too. We all have to realize everybody's got their own perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I would say overall, no, she's no hoe.
No, and I would agree
Okay.
with you there, Tommy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's no hoe. She's a spokesman model, if you will.
And
you
all
know-
I'm trying to point out is that there are going to be other, mainly men, but some women who are going to take a much more hardline approach in the opposite direction as well.
Yep.
There's no right answer to that.
No.
I mean, I've dated ballet dancers, I've dated female gymnasts, I've dated models, I've dated a lot of those women the past, what, 30 years, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
The women that I have dated are, very much the, I mean, you guys would definitely know who they were. I mean, one chick I dated actually was a Victoria's Secret model 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, she's married now to some other dude and has kids and whatever. But yeah, I mean, could she? Yeah, even though she's in her early 40s, could she still go and do all that? Hell yeah, she could. Would she? No, she's not that type of person. Has she gotten brand deals and endorsements and stuff like that? Has she done things like that? Yeah, she has. But is she kind of the trashy? No, she's not. And it sounds very much like your cousin or whoever it is you're talking about. There are some women that have a defined line that they will not cross.
Mhm.
And you have to understand it's a very big challenge and a very tough thing because evolutionarily and biologically speaking, women know and understand their levels of vulnerability, and they understand that, generally speaking, they are not the most physically imposing individual. That's why men are the physical aggressors, and women are the psychological aggressors. That's just the way things are, because that is one tool that they have above and beyond the general male. So women will always have an innate level of vulnerability to them that a man will never truly understand, because he has never been in that scenario or a situation, nor will he ever. So women will always seek approval and belonging and the protection and the provisioning from males, biologically speaking, on an evolutionary standard, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
So women are always going to do that because they are going to be able to, quote unquote, manipulate men to provide, protect, and to care for them, knowing that they are physiologically, generally speaking, the weaker of the two in a pair. As in, when I say weaker, I mean, for a man to be able to deadlift 300 pounds is normal. For a woman to deadlift 300 pounds, it's exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the strongest women can deadlift 300 pounds, but some of the strongest men can deadlift well over 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always going to be that vulnerability for women.
Right,
If
but
that, yeah.
the problem I have with dudes deadlifting more than 700, and this is just my opinion, your feet belong in a box when you deadlift. When you sumo lift, I'm sorry, it ain't a deadlift. That shit doesn't count. You can't. If you any one of us right now could put our legs 3.5 feet apart and pick up 1,000 pounds, it takes fucking nothing. If you sumo
Uh,
deadlift, you are not deadlifting. That's just hands down the facts. I don't give a fuck if your max is 700 pounds. If you're sumo wide, shit don't count. Go back to 350, and that be the end of it. The best I ever did on a real deadlift was 600, and I blew my fucking calf muscle doing it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I was using that as an example. Now, if you look at physiological examples of differences between men and women, if you look at the distances between a hinge joint like the knee, the distance between the hinge of the knee and the placement and the positioning of where the tendon actually connects to the opposing bone and the angle to create the hinge,
Mm-hmm.
the the space between the joint and where the tendon connects to the bone is greater, allowing men more leverage, more power, and the ability to lift more weight. Not only that, but men have roughly 20 to 30% more muscle mass.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a mechanical advantage with the leverage and the position of the tendons connecting to the bone, as well as you have 20 to 30% more muscle mass in addition to that mechanical advantage of where the tendon connects to the bone.
Right.
Okay, Crusader, let me ask
Yeah.
this question. Now,
Yes.
and this is primarily for those people that buy into evolution, which, truth be told, I really don't. I'm not going to go into details why.
Irrelevant.
Right.
Would that partially be because of the fact that our ancestors from well back before what's known as anatomically modern man were more having to travel? The males would have to travel longer distances and carry heavier loads to bring food back to their home tribe or home cave or whatever.
Well, partially yes, partially no. Um, usually the men that had larger muscle mass, greater lung capacity, greater heart capacity allowed them to pull, carry, and or push, pull, or drag whatever it may be to bring whatever they killed back.
Okay.
The other thing is men have more collagen, thicker skin, greater bone density, which allowed them to survive accidents and or large altercations with larger land-based mammals. So the men who had those had a greater chance of surviving getting in a tussle with a saber tooth or a woolly mammoth or something like that. On top of that, the men who were able to do those things were more imposing within their tribe, and those were the top 20% of men that the women were actually attracted to because of their provisioning capabilities and their survivability, which then bottlenecked and weeded out those with the smaller hearts, smaller lungs, smaller statures, which in turn bottlenecked the human genome to where we find it today. So you put all of those factors together, and that kind of, crudely speaking, going by Mendelian genetics, bred out those men, which brought us to where we are today.
Which, with modern technology, we've kind of bred ourselves back into that kind of man.
Yes.
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 Because.
Well, I mean,
yeah, go ahead, JMO.
there's nothing wrong with wanting to physically better yourself.
No.
No, nothing at all.
Oh, and please don't
Like-
take my question as saying that at all, JMO, because
No,
that wasn't the
no.
intent.
I didn't. It's just the biggest issue now when it comes to men being men, right? Like, we've all been around the block. We've all done shit that will haunt us forever, right? Fine, dandy. The problem is with this new generation of men, and that's one of the reasons I put that in Gilded about these women pushing men around. It's because of the pussy ass men who are willing to completely abandon. I'm not sure if naturality is a word. Is it? Don't think it is. All right, the natural way of being a man to be submissive because they know it gets them laid. Right?
Yes. Yes.
So why
And
better
you're right.
yourself when it's easier to cower and just get what you want? And I'm pissed off that we're in a society now where that's just the absolute norm.
I
'Cause
think
I'm
that's
sorry.
starting to turn around to a certain extent.
It is,
beginning to turn.
which I'm happy to see, but the world shouldn't come to where men should be beggars all of a sudden. Like, I had this
No.
conversation with a female coworker on Thursday, right? She's like, I don't understand why men get paid more, and I said it's very simple because men die.
Men work more.
Well,
And she was like, well, what do you mean by that? I was like, it's simple. We go to war, you stay here. We go to work, you stay there.
Well,
We kill ourselves to make sure you're okay.
Well,
Right.
here's the thing: the gender pay gap's a myth.
It is.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
not real.
Absolutely.
It's either you do the same job or you don't get paid as much, or you do as
Right.
good as a job and you don't get paid as much.
Since
Right.
1963, it's been on the books that it's illegal to pay men or
Mhm.
women more for the same job than the opposite gender.
Yeah.
By
Like,
gender alone.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
okay.
and,
Let's
and
look
that's
at
an argument. I'm sorry, really quick, Nate. But that's
Go
an
ahead,
argument
go
that's always pissed me off. And I know everybody in this panel is going to agree with me on this one. When a woman says she wants to get treated as an equal at the job, it's complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. You want to get treated like a lady, but get paid as a fucking equal. So don't sit here and say that it comes down to you having a fucking vagine between your legs. If you can't do what I do, you shouldn't fucking make as much as I do.
Well,
Plain and simple.
if you
True.
can't do the same job, you shouldn't get the same pay.
True.
Exactly.
You're
True.
not doing
True.
this. Well, here. Let's put it this way. Let's even break it down further. If you are going to do the same job, you get the same pay. The problem is you can't do the same job, so you're doing a different job, which gets lower pay.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make it wrong? No.
Well, and honestly, it's the same thing that all of us that were in the military have seen multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of women out there who they will say they can do the same thing men can do. And then when a let's just say when a senior NCO looks at him and goes, "Okay, come on, we're doing a 15-mile road march right now."
70-pound
Mhm.
rucks. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Oh, I can't do that. I don't have the gear, or I haven't trained for this," or then the excuses start flying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well,
And I've lost count. I lost count when I was on active duty of how many times I heard female soldiers say that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they were basically told to put their money where their mouth was,
Hmm.
they were whining and crying worse than a Humvee that hasn't been maintained in 5 years.
Yeah.
yeah.
Those
Mhm.
bearings were squealing. Wee,
Yep.
wee, wee, all the way home.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
like, and that's why I respected my two cousins so much because they went in and out of the military. Well, one actually made it as far as being one of the very few females ever to be in Spetsnaz. That's the IG one. But
Mm-hmm.
she broke away from that because, well, first off, fuck, we can all agree, fuck Russia, right?
Well, and that shit kills you, man.
It
That's
does.
exactly what Pop did. And he tells you he did it for 2 years and he's broken because of it.
Yeah.
And it's and she did it for 5 years
Uh-huh.
before she ultimately, she didn't defect. She ended up getting discharged due to civil indifferences with her officers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But her opinion was, because in Russia you don't make money. Everything's combined and then split. That's just how Russia's always
Yep.
worked. Like when I showed up with $100 bill, people went fucking crazy because
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to get the correct amount of change for it.
Hell no.
But when her big issue was when she made lieutenant and she was the combatives instructor and she replaced him and he got lesser duty, she felt she should get more of the pie because she did more, she taught more,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just better.
Nope. That's not the way it works there.
Well, especially in Russia. Russia's still very male dominant to where females almost are non existent minus looks.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't want to be a Russian military Barbie doll.
Yep.
She wanted to work up all the way to commander, and they
Mm-hmm.
were not. They just weren't going to let her do it. Same thing with my other cousin when she was one of the female infantrymen, right? She didn't do it to get the attention or get the political opinions of every other guy. She just wanted to do it better than they could.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, and they both excelled at it, but the problem I had with the female mentality when I was in, and actually only one time one chick ever brought up pay to me, and we were both E4s, right? I think we
She's getting
literally
the same
joined.
money.
Yeah, we literally joined 2 weeks apart.
She's getting the same damn money.
And she was like, "I don't get paid as much as you," and I was like, "We're the
Bullshit.
same fucking rank." And as a matter of fact, you do get paid more than me because being a female and the barracks were full, you got on post housing allowance.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get a higher uniform rate because of their uniforms.
Well,
Right.
okay. That one squad leader I told you about, every time a female soldier would make a comment to that effect, "I don't get paid as much, I don't have the kind of responsibility, I don't this, I don't that," whatever. She would stand there, listen to them complain about it for about 2 to 5 minutes,
Dig their grave.
and then she would go, "Okay, do you do this? No. Do you do this? No. Do you do this? No. Then quit your complaining. Go out there and do the job, and you'll be treated the same as any of the guys are."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And this NCO would look at these ladies and go, "Do you hear me complain that I'm not being treated the same as any of the dudes?" They were always like, "Well, no." She goes, "Why do you think that is?" "Because you're you."
Right.
Oh.
Her
You
response every time that was the answer, No, it's because I put myself out there to do the job, and if when it's something I can't do, I don't put on airs. I tell them straight up, look, I can't do this. I need help.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what the military's about. It's a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Or it's
every
supposed to
man
be.
can do every job.
Well,
Not
or it's
every
supposed to
woman.
be anyway.
Well, but you know what I'm saying, though.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
every man can do every job,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to
Right.
physical output. Fuck,
Well,
man, I'm not a big dude.
Okay, my upper body strength is admittedly bad.
Mhm.
I have struggled with pull-ups my entire life. And if I don't, I'm one of those guys who I need a resistance band to actually do a pull-up.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the
I
only
don't,
one.
I don't try to say I need to be treated the same as the 300 scoring muscle-bound individual who can go up there and do one-arm pull-ups for 20 minutes while looking at you and having a conversation about whatever the heck it is you want to have a conversation about.
Well, and that person's a freak.
But you know the
Right.
kind of
Not
person
normal. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, but that's
you-
not normal.
But you know that
Right.
you know the stereotype that I'm describing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do.
We
Now,
had one.
what I was going to say is I make up for that by having a lot of technical knowledge, a lot of technical
Mhm.
skill, and if there's a problem going on that Mr. 300 PT can't quite get his head around, I go in there and I'm like, okay, what's the issue? Let me take a look at the TM. Here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the best PT. Well, I have ran a perfect 300 before. I've done it once, and I vowed to never do it again. So we get this. So the fastest I ever ran the Marine Corps 3 mile. Right. I managed to do it in 17 minutes and 41 seconds.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fucking booking it. Well, along came this private when I was a corporal. Went by the name of Cody Hendricks. This little shitbag cheat code could run 3 miles in 15 minutes and 48 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that pissed me off is once he did that, he became the example for the entire battalion.
Right.
Yeah,
When he
because the
was
military
actually the exception to the example.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even think this kid breathed when he ran.
Well, here's the thing.
I think he just took one deep breath and just booked it.
Here's the thing. The military has always treated those people that could run
Gold.
as though they were pretty darn close to deities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
but
and
go ahead.
and if they were able to run and do push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups and not have any kind of major issue, oh my goodness, they would slap rank on those people faster than anything else.
Oh yeah, he made E3 in under a year, which really pissed me off. But the main advantage I had that made him look like shit is, well, Crusader Nate was in the army and he knows all about this. When your
No, he
battalion
wasn't.
No.
Nope. I was a contractor.
Oh, well, my bad. Well, anybody, well, all right, well then Mando will know this. So when you become the battalion marksman, right? You are the fucking man.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing to it. So when I had that, I had the distinct advantage over Cody because this kid couldn't shoot for shit.
Mm-hmm.
And once
Well,
I saw that, our CO came up and goes, all right, so he can't shoot that good. But he's still a top tier Marine. And I went, so what? He
No.
can run fast backwards when he can't hit a fucking enemy? I was like, what makes his skill set better than the 285-pound, 5'4" Marine we have who shoots expert?
Mm-hmm.
He's a hell of a lot more battle effective than him. I don't care if he can do 50 pull-ups. You really think that's going to impress Al Qaeda? Let's set him free. He did it. No.
See, And JMO, I'm not going to disagree with you on the point you're making there.
Right.
And bear in mind, I am one of those people who I struggled my entire career with shooting. It's only in the last like 5 years that I actually got better than a marksman on my first time going out to a range.
Right.
Well, hey, not everybody's
but
got
since
that
you
skill.
but hold on, but since you said that, let me ask you a question, Mando.
Hmm.
If there was a barn 50 feet away from you, you could hit it, right, with a bullet?
Oh, generally speaking.
Yeah, this fucking kid couldn't. So
See,
when our battalion commander dug deeper into his waivers, because he had one of them, he had a rifleman waiver. I was like, how the fuck? Every Marine's supposed to be a rifleman.
Yeah, how do you get that as a Marine?
Like, if you score pizza box, I got no problem with you. That tells me you'll still hit 5 out of 10 targets.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can't hit 2 out of 50, he was rushed through and treated like gold because I'm not gonna lie, the kid's PT skill was off the charts good.
Yeah, and in a peacetime military, which despite what all the time we spent in Iraq and Afghanistan, that's what we've essentially been for the last 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
but
I was going to say in a peacetime military, that's what matters because those are the people they can trot out in front of cameras
oh
that'll
yeah,
look nice and spiffy in the uniform and can talk a big game about how the military has done this for me or the military has done that for me.
right. So I even showed this kid how to breathe correctly when he shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it, it it's not his technique. The kid just can't hit fucking anything.
Mm-hmm.
If I teach the best time to always shoot a gun, and I don't care whether it's a pistol, a sniper rifle, or a fucking assault rifle, right? The best time to shoot is always mid exhale. Your body's at its most relaxed. There's a lot less chance of
Yep.
a flinch and a misfire,
Yep.
right?
See, okay,
This
JMO,
kid couldn't. Go ahead.
I'm I'm just gonna be completely blunt with you, and this is for me specifically.
Okay.
The problem I think I had with my rifle skill
Mm-hmm.
was primarily the tables that the U.S. Army used for its qualifications. Because up until a couple of years ago, it was always fixed positions. You wouldn't move except when the tower told you to move. You wouldn't reload except when
Mm-hmm.
the tower told you to reload. And you had plenty of time to get in your own head
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
about it. Now, with the new tables they've got, the the tower literally tells you you will transition on your own
Mm-hmm.
from
Right.
one fighting position to the next. And they don't give
Yeah.
you anything else until they tell you all clear or lock and clear your weapons
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the current command is.
Well, that
Right.
sounds like a better way of doing it to me.
And I'll tell you in the backstage what it is because I don't know if it's something that's actually considered confidential information.
It's not.
Mm.
It's the rifle range is the rifle range. The thing that always pissed me off, Mando, and the reason I like the U.S. Army's rifle range more than I like the Marines, you guys stop at 300 meters in the prone,
Uh huh.
generally. We go all the way out to 500, and it
Yeah,
used
which
to
is
piss me off because there was no visible reason on why I had to do that.
and it's silly because if I remember correctly, the stats on the M16 and the M4, the effective engagement range is 800 meters, when the maximum range is something like 2 kilometers.
Yeah, well, I mean, at two
And
kilometers, you're gonna scratch me when you hit me.
well,
Yeah.
what I was, and I was actually going to direct this as a question to Nate. What's the
Yeah.
average? What's the average distance that the human eye can differentiate a humanoid form in a sunny
1100,
environment?
1150 meters.
Depending on the environment, I mean, if you're talking,
Let's say the type of planes that we allegedly evolved on.
Ooh.
theoretically,
day.
clear day, Great Plains, tall grasses, knee to waist high grasses, flat land, roughly, I'd say 3/8 of a mile. about 3/8 of a mile to half a mile, they can differentiate humanoid movement.
Okay, so roughly 300 to 500 meters.
No, further than
Ye-
that.
to be able to exactly differentiate humanoid movement and to be able to identify it, you're about that distance. Can you spot movement at 1 to 2 miles? Yes.
But you won't be able to tell if it's a human or some kind of big or other big animal or some kind of machine.
You will be because of the way that the eye is actually built and made. The human eye can actually differentiate movement
Mhm.
at great distances up to 5 miles. However, being able to differentiate what that movement is caused by is something completely different. Whether it's
Okay.
a wind moving, whether it is, there are some people, there are variabilities that come into nearsighted, farsighted, astigmatism, position
Yeah, it's
Concentration.
of,
like I said, this is just a question of the average human because there's going to be
yeah,
outliers
Oh,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
good and the
yeah,
bad.
I
right,
mean,
right. Yeah, you
if you
could
were to, sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead, Jim.
I, like me personally, if a lot of it depends on concentration level too,
Yeah,
how
right.
focused you are. Like, I can probably pinpoint a standing still target up to maybe probably maybe 600 meters, right? That'd probably be about average. If it's moving, I'll see you up to 900 meters. Just because if you're that focused, you're going to notice any change in the environment.
Right.
And you notice I'm not saying anything against that at all, JMO.
No,
No.
no, 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 no. I know you
Because
weren't arguing that.
because the whole thing I'm just trying to get at, and this is the issue I always ran into. On the rifle range in the old system, I could plug pretty much anything from about 100 meters out to 200 feet or 50 meters out.
Okay.
Right.
The 50-meter Fast Freddy and the 300-meter guy, it was a pain in the butt for me to actually see and engage those particular targets. And that was a weakness for me personally.
Yeah.
It's something I struggled with almost my entire career.
Well, pop and drops are hard for a lot of people. So when you're looking at a rifle range, right? Generally,
Hmm.
what you see as a soldier, even as a Marine, you see 15 white targets with a black silhouette, right?
Um,
Now,
I think the Army used OD green, but
okay,
basic.
well,
You're not
yeah.
off the mark.
So I had issues with that strictly because at a certain point when you're stopping and dropping, everything's the same.
Hmm.
So I think the first time I ever qualled, I ended up getting sharpshooter, right, which really pissed me off because I was an avid hunter. But it's hard to refocus what's square ahead when you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can agree with that completely.
So like you and I could be going at it in combat, right? If you're running towards me and then stopping and dropping, I have the better advantage of you if I am standing still.
Hmm.
Because my field of view never changes. My eyes don't have to as fixed to anything else, like where I'm running to, where I need to stop at, what's going to be the best comfortable stop. Because a lot of crap goes into combat drop, which is stupid because it doesn't have to.
Well,
Like
part
I
part of it.
hated the stop and go drills in the military because I thought one they were unneeded. If I'm being engaged at, I'm not going to hop my ass and run closer to you. That's just not going to happen.
Unless
I'll
you're
throw my own white flag.
unless you're being instructed to advance on a position.
Yeah, that's different if I will get shot from behind. But it's there's no reason for me to engage an enemy at 500 meters, and that was always my argument in the Marines. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
you tell me when I'm ever going to shoot somebody with iron sights and engage them that far away. It would make no sense because I don't know what he's using. An
J-
ACOG is going to make me a perfect target.
hey, JMO,
What up?
you remind me of a quasi joke I made to a couple of guys at the hobby shop I like to hang out at on Saturdays earlier today. They were talking about what the better video games were, Call of Duty, Halo, and all that. And I just looked at these guys and go, the best combat related game of all time was the Marine simulation for Battle of Fallujah 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Those guys were giving each other points for number of headshots they were getting.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys looked at me like, "What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
I just go, "Look it up."
The
Just
Fallujah simulator was so much fun. Oh, if
but
you guys have a computer that's got Windows, I think it's 2000 or above to use it. If you can download the simulator, you will literally feel like you're in 2004 Fallujah with a group of Marines.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put a lot of fucking detail into that. And I mean, Fallujah was a shithole when we landed. I mean, obviously, I wasn't there for day one. Obviously, thank fuck. I have buddies who were,
Yep.
but and even they've told me, and this is Marines and Army. I was like, "What's the furthest you ever engaged anybody?" And they flat out said, "It goes, I think the furthest, just because I was told to, was like 400 meters. Other than that, you're looking at 150 and under."
Yeah.
I was like, "So then why do I need to qual at 500 meters? The Army only needs to qual at 3." So it sounds like the more tactical decision would be to learn at 300 meters if I'm not engaging you from anything further than 2. Because at 300 meters, you're just getting dialed in for the fact you know they're going to be closer than that.
all right, this is just a theory, JMO, on my part. But my guess is because historically, we Vietnam and earlier, the U.S. military wasn't really a mobile military, so to speak.
Yeah.
We we had we were basically doing a modified version of the Napoleonic Wars, line up and shoot at each other. The modification being dig a hole and shoot at each other.
Mm.
Right.
So that's my guess on that. I could be completely off the mark.
So one of the funnier things I ever said to a CO. So you probably never had to deal with this kind of retardation when you went over. So they put the ammo dump right next to the housing.
That's a great spot for it.
But check this out. I asked the CO, I was like, why is that there? Why is 75,000 rounds of death 30 feet away from me? And he goes, well, it was a tactic we learned from the Germans because if it's right next to housing, usually the enemy won't shoot it. I was like, great, so now we're taking lessons from the fucking losers?
Well, and the other thing that you could have pointed out was, yeah, the Germans also fought, or pretended to follow the Geneva Conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no shit.
Do
Yeah.
the local nationals even know what the Geneva Conventions are aside from unused toilet paper?
They've never heard of them.
Right.
By the way, gentlemen, let's kind of redirect this a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
This is getting way into the rabbit hole, and I want to
Yeah.
Okay.
kind of be a little lighter here. So
All right.
let's go back to the pressure cooker,
Yeah. That's
non-exploding version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry it helped to redirect that on your Tommy.
No, it's all good, guys. It was a good
Yeah,
discussion.
my bad.
No, good discussion, good information. Let's move on.
right. Yeah, I saw you had this one up, Tommy. I'm trying to find it. I'm literally looking at their website right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that one listed.
If you go to the front page
Yeah.
and you go to let me back up. Get back to the page. I'll back up. Back up one more. So you go up to right there. Do you see my
Yeah.
All-American pressure canner?
Yeah.
Top one. Click on that one.
Yep.
And then go down to the 21 quart pressure canner. 21 quart is probably your best one because you can put 7-quart jars in it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I was looking at a different section. I was looking at the ones where they had the full on kits and everything.
Oh, okay. Well, the kits are great, but you want to get a quart size to begin with.
Yeah.
How many jars do you want to be able to cook off at once? 21 quart will work on most any flat gas stove or
Yeah.
Induction stove. Not induction. Standard electric stove.
Okay.
Yes. Never put a canner on an induction stove unless it is rated for it, or a glass top. It will bust the fuck out of it.
Yeah, it'll shatter in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And these work great on propane burners, by the way.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, these are awesome. And these, you don't have a seal that wears out, a gasket that wears out. These are literally surface gasket between
To
the lid.
To be completely honest with you, Tommy,
Uh-huh.
that looks a lot like the field autoclaves that I had to train to use when I was still a medic.
Now, here you go. Here you go. Now that you mention that, let's back this up a little bit. All American sterilizers. Oops. Bam, right there.
Yep. Yep. Okay, Tommy. And I'm sorry to redirect this back to the military. I won't.
No,
stay
this is
here
fine,
long.
dude. We're talking about canners.
When I was still in OR tech, one of the things that that my unit had that no one knew how to use was a pressure sterilizer for the field.
It was one of these.
It was very similar to that. Because for an autoclave sterilizer works by both heat and pressure to kill microorganisms.
Yep.
And everyone in the unit was like, what the hell is this? How do we use it? Is this even a piece of medical equipment that looks like it belongs in the kitchen? I was like, you know what? Let me see if there's a TM for this.
Was there?
It was Korean War era, but yes, they had one.
And it probably was still valid.
I assume so.
Yep.
And I looked at that and I'm like, okay. Do we have a gas heater of some kind?
A burner of some sort.
Well, they were like, well, yeah, we kind of do. Like, what? Let me see it. They showed it to me. I'm like, we can still use this thing. They're like, how? It's older than all of us put together. I'm like, not quite. Sully's just younger than it. It took me about 30 minutes to get things set up according to a TM, actually going through and reading everything and comparing how it all goes together. I'm like, assuming I read this correctly, it's not going to blow up in your face when you kick the burner on. And one of the guys looks at me and goes, what if you didn't read it correctly?
Minor details.
We'll all be dead. Don't worry about
it. No, I was just like, hey, we're all medics here.
That's even worse.
I'm counting on one of you to put me back together.
Stop the bleeding with a tourniquet.
Well, the thing is, we kicked it on. It got up to operating pressure. It held operating pressure for the entire time they had the inlet or the ECU on. They kicked it off, let the pressure drop. We opened it. Nothing broke on the inside. It actually sterilized the test kit that I had them throw in there to make sure the thing actually would work.
Yep.
They were like, "Well, you're a genius."
No.
I
followed the instructions.
No, that's literally what I said to him. I'm not a genius. I just looked at the document that came with the piece of equipment. Get with supply and see if there's an up-to-date version of this. And you might also want to see if there's an adapter for our current ECU, because I'm pretty sure this piece of equipment belongs in a museum.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
No,
was right on both counts.
I used to run into a lot of that too. But to follow this up, the ball canning book, you've got to have this also.
Yeah.
I've got 2 versions of it.
Yeah. I have a couple old versions.
Okay.
I have my grandmother's copy from 1947. Like the old spiral version.
Oh, I wish they still made them like that. I really do.
I don't think much has changed since 47.
It has. Actually, a lot of the temperatures have. This one is like the 75th anniversary version, so it's got extra
Okay.
recipes in it. But
Yeah.
the standard version, and there is a newer version of it, all they do
Yeah.
is they update the times and the temperatures occasionally.
Yeah.
And then they'll adjust acidity levels depending on if it's cold water or hot water bath or pressure canner.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yes.
I linked in the private chat the one I was looking at in the beginning while they were talking.
Mhm.
I think that's probably what I'll end up getting, and then doing because I can pressure can,
Yes.
stews, soups. I mean, I could do chili. I can do all that stuff and make it shelf stable with something like that, and then I don't have any problems.
And you will get 3 to 5 years out of it, by the way.
Out of the kettle, or
No. Out of the canning.
oh,
That kettle will last 2 generations if taken care of properly.
yeah, okay,
And I mean literally 150 years, honestly.
The way that kettle's designed, if it's the same design as what I
Yeah.
dealt with that autoclave, like I said, it was something that was Korean War era.
Yep.
yeah,
You
okay.
have to purposely damage it for it to be destroyed. The pressure let-off valve that JAMA was talking about is built into it. It's got a pressure gauge on it. You don't have to worry about a gasket because it's all positive sealing. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you want to hear something really sad? Going back to
Hmm.
that autoclave for just half a second.
Mm-hmm.
After I left the unit that was in, they tried to redo the experiment to make sure it would work.
Oh.
The guy who did it did not read the instructions, did not do what he was supposed to, and ended up shooting a pressure plate hole through the ceiling of the warehouse. And the commander forced him to get rid of it.
Yeah, because he didn't have it set up correctly and he overpressured it and it blew.
Uh-huh. Well, they also didn't lock down the bolts on the top.
Oh God. Well, I will tell you guys, these things are no joke. They will fucking kill you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to know what you're doing and follow the instructions.
Anything that works with heat and pressure has the potentiality of being highly lethal if you don't treat it with the respect it deserves.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the entire idea behind all of these things is to get the internal temperature of whatever's inside of it above 212. 212 is boiling water at sea level. It will kill anything. But if you're
Right.
at 10,000 feet, you need to be able to get that internal pressure to that temperature. So most of your canning green beans, you want them to be at an internal pressure of 230 degrees for 20 minutes, which is, I believe, 15. The pressure setting on a canner is like 15 something and boiling. So your little pressure gauge will start popping and making all kinds of racket and hissing and crazy shit. It's maintaining the pressure at the correct level.
And I just
yeah,
go ahead.
on those pressure autoclaves that I was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that scared the living daylights out of
Yeah.
people.
If you've never seen one before, it does. Go ahead, Nate.
Well, I'm very interested in learning this and
Mm-hmm.
understanding the science, the logic, and the fine little details of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So if let's say the recipe says, 5 psi for 20 minutes, let's say as an example,
Right.
there's a way where I can adjust that to where it'll blow off pressure at 5 psi, or
Well, this particular unit that you're looking at, the one that I've
yeah,
shown you,
yeah,
it's got little settings on it. So that little valve, the pop-off valve, is a
yeah.
weight, and it's got different places where you just turn it around and set it on the spout. So you want 5 psi, you set it to the 5 psi, and that's how much pressure it will maintain within the canister. And then it will
Okay.
start hopping and letting off the pressure.
And then once it starts hopping, okay, we've reached temperature, we've reached pressure.
Then
we
the
start
timer.
the timer.
Uh-huh.
And then whether it's 5, whether it's 10, whether it's 15,
20, 30,
and
whatever
then
it may be. Mm-hmm.
whatever you need for pressure, whatever you need for time.
Yep.
And because the one I just put in the private chat is 5, 10, and 15 psi. That should be golden for any kind of.
Yes. That is all you ever need for anything to can shelf-stable foods.
Okay.
If you do the higher pressure one, I don't know what you're dealing with, because I don't think I've ever, in all my years growing up, seen more than a 10.
Okay.
The thing is, those higher pressure ones are for if you want to sterilize something.
I would agree. That's probably the case.
No, that
Okay.
I can all.
I'm thinking of a canning situation.
I know, but what I was going to say is I would be willing to put money on when these things were originally designed. Call that back up if you still have the page up.
Oh yeah, it's here.
The-
Add to stage. There we go. That's
Okay.
just that one.
Does it say the year that this was designed?
No, I don't.
No,
they do.
no.
Because I am willing to bet you that if you were to go back to this company's catalog from back when they originally opened up, they would have maybe not this exact model, but this model's grandfather, so to speak, and design-wise, pretty much identical, maybe a few differences in materials used in the construction.
Let's see here. About us.
Well, that's all
No.
good knowledge, but I'm looking for practical application
I know.
knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pointing out the history behind it there, Crusader.
And I know that they've been doing canning since about 1840, 1850.
Yes. It was done differently then, but the
Right.
principles were very similar.
Right. I could care less about when this was patented, who did that. That's completely a rabbit hole of irrelevancy. That's going to lead down another 15, 20-minute conversation on things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned on understanding the basics, the foundation. Can this work for doing, let's say, jams, jellies, gravies, soups, stews? Can it do multiple things for practical real-world applications for guys that are listening to us now and listening to us 10 years from now that happen to stumble upon this video?
I would say yes, not only for the canning side of it, but also for what I was pointing out with the medical side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably with very little in the way of modification.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's not what you would consider an autoclave, because this is more of a steam bath. But I would say that the steam is even better.
Well, the thing is, Tommy, most autoclaves actually are steam autoclaves.
Right, but this doesn't work the way that all the autoclaves I know work. They do steam, yes. They use steam, high pressure steam.
And bear in mind, I'm not trying to take us down a rabbit hole. I'm just pointing out the similarities behind
Mhm.
the technology behind it.
Yep. It
Good.
really is truly the same technology.
And I would be willing to take a shot in the dark and say that if if these things are essentially the same as they were 150 years ago, they were probably intended to be sold to people like barbers and dentists who not only used to do
Mhm.
the job that we associate with them today, but they also used to be the field doctors, they also used to be the
Surgeons.
canners. They
Mhm.
also used to do all sorts of other things that ensured that their community had greater survivability.
Yep.
But that's just me taking a scientific wild arse guess.
No, you're absolutely correct. It's the same thing. Um,
And
one
and
of the things you
honestly,
guys, go ahead.
honestly, the knowledge on how to do that, if the nightmare scenarios that we all talk about come to pass, knowing how to use that to sterilize whatever it is you're using as a scalpel
Mhm.
probably wouldn't be a bad thing, in addition to knowing how to use it for its intended purpose.
Mhm.
But that would also probably not be YouTube friendly to talk about because I could claim medical misinformation.
As long as we cite medical journals and surgical
I don't think that
manuals.
helped. I don't think that's helped people in the past when YouTube's tried that nonsense.
Well, but okay, so let's just forget YouTube and go to Rumble. I don't give a fuck.
Again,
By the way, guys, I think we all need a piss break. What do you all say?
Yeah, I'm about to.
You're about to what, Jamo?
Oh shit! I didn't see the bubble thing moving. No, I was about to get off here, but one of the weirder points, and I read about this the other day. Nate and Manda will get a kick out of this. Um, so do you guys know that up until 19, I think it was 21? Do you know who actually used to do surgeries?
Barbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the doctors did was on look to make sure they were using the right they were removing the right organ.
Right. Right.
well,
That's why
JMO,
barber poles are red and white, because that would distinguish when he was in and out of surgery.
Mm-hmm. Part of the reason.
I was literally about to call that out. Good job, JMO.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck it. I'll stick around for a while. Who's peeing?
Let's all pee. Outlaw's
Wow.
out, so I guess I'll have to run the pee break. I don't even know what. Fuck it. Just go
No,
pee.
I'm still here.
All right, run a pee break. I'm going pee.
All right, guys.
Oh, Jack will come back. We can get him into the conversation finally. Good to see you, Jackal.
All right, guys. Enjoy some more Jeffrey Paul. We'll be right back.
Tommy, I figured you'd get that dark humor. You're muted.
Just fucking wrong.
Hey, it's IT humor.
I know, and I love it.
But yeah, you made me think of that, and I was like, oh, I have to share this. He's sick enough that he'll get it. But it's definitely not YouTube friendly.
No. Well, here, St. Louis Arch has some good points on that too. And
Oh,
pulled
yeah.
teeth. The ancient stuff? Yeah. Yep.
Well, as much as we all love the latest and greatest, newest pieces of technology, sometimes what our grandparents did worked a hell of a lot better than what we've got today.
And it was a hell of a lot quicker, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Well, so sometimes speed isn't what you need.
No, it isn't. Well, it may have taken longer to do it, but in all reality, you didn't have to source chemicals that would cause cancer. Preservatives, in other words.
Okay, we're talking about different things. My apologies.
Oh, okay. No. Where were you going?
I was going with the medical preparations.
Oh, all of that shit too.
No, because some of those you actually did have to handle chemicals that
Mm-hmm.
have some pretty nasty warnings on them.
Sure, but you're using it for a specific reason, and it doesn't give you harm necessarily down the road. When you're talking about preserving foods and you put all of these preservatives in it, it leaches out all the nutrients. It causes other problems. When we're talking about this canning, pressure canning right now, you have salt, spices, maybe some vinegar. That's it. And then whatever you're preserving in it. Nate, you were talking about the meats. When you pressure can meats, you can do a fully contained beef stew in a jar. All you have to do is put that thing in a pot, warm it up, and eat it. And it'll make Denny Moore look like bullshit dog food.
Oh, anything makes Denny Moore look like BS dog food. Even my cooking, which has been known to cause little things like food poisoning. Right. Okay, here, Tommy. Let me just put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
In Iraq, I was banned from making any kind of barbecue stuff, even simple things like hot dogs or hamburgers, because I apparently don't know how to cook properly when it's something that doesn't come out of a box. And I ended up causing people to get sick from that stuff.
Well, what were you doing with hot dogs, which are super processed?
This was in Iraq, doing a unit barbecue.
Yeah,
with a unit that was too stupid to realize how to actually take care of their people.
Yeah, but how did you, unless the hot dogs were already compromised, how did you screw them up?
I don't bloody well know, man. I'm literally just telling you what happened.
Holy crap, because...
Yeah, and you also got to remember, I'm the guy that in high school blew a stove through a kitchen wall trying to make no-bake cookies.
Yeah, I do remember that story.
I'm still trying to figure out how the hell that happened.
But that was an equipment failure from what I can understand.
I would hope so. But still...
Okay, my advice to you is stay away from this pressure canner.
Well, why do you think I'm not even making... Look, I'm sitting here cracking jokes and trying to offer usable insights.
Sure.
Because I know for a fact, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, I don't have much more to add than that.
See, and where I grew up, this was what we did. We would grow a garden. We would put the stuff up, can it up. We'd grow half an acre of corn. we'd cut it off the cob, we'd freeze it. That's just the shit we used to do.
Oh, and you notice I'm not knocking any of that.
Oh no! I know you're not. I'm coming from a different perspective.
And here's my thing: I'll crack jokes, but I'm not joking on anyone's skill sets.
Oh no!
What I'm doing is I'm cracking jokes because my own ignorance. That's the way I process when it's something that I don't fully understand.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can get you up to speed in a heartbeat.
And the other thing is, kind of like Pop, I use humor to attack things that annoy me. Because if I have a big problem and I can laugh at it, it's no longer a big problem. It's a little annoyance.
Right.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, I got my smoker running. I got some stuff on there, so I'm trying to watch it and maintain temperatures and things.
No, it's no problem, Nate. No, we were just discussing just a little bit there. It was a good idea for the pee break, wasn't it?
I'm probably gonna be like splitting out here in the next 5-10 minutes. I got some more stuff I'm gonna throw on my smoker tonight before I call it a night.
All right, it's all good.
So,
Crusader, if you were old enough during Desert Storm to be driving or to possibly have enlisted, you're one of those who would have had the bumper sticker on your vehicle. I'll fly 10,000 miles just to smoke a camel, aren't you?
Dude, I had the T-shirt. Why?
No,
the one with the camel and the crosshairs. Yeah, I remember that T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, I also had the one. I also had the T-shirt back then that said, "If you want to burn the flag, make sure you wrap yourself in it first."
Yes.
I never had that T-shirt, but I saw it a few times.
Yeah, I had the T-shirt. Yeah. Why is that?
No, I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just.
I didn't say you were. I'm just asking how did that come up in the conversation?
It's just because of the fact that I remembered that it was a memory that got brought up, and I was like, oh, that's something that Crusader would actually find moderately humorous.
I actually remember. I know a guy that when 03 kicked off, he went and did a variation on the patent when. And he was the guy that actually started selling all those T-shirts online and wound up selling his design to tshirthell.com, who actually took over selling a lot of those, I guess you can say, insensitively remarked T-shirts.
What do you want to bet those kinds of T-shirts and bumper stickers are going to start showing up again, given what Sleepy Creepy Joe has been doing over in the Middle East the last weekend?
From what I've been hearing, it's not only directed towards the Middle East.
It is.
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors about that too.
I mean, some of the rumors I'm hearing are definitely disheartening, to say the least.
Yes.
Yeah, so some of the whispers I've been seeing and hearing from people I've known, they're not promising.
No. And, that's kind of like going back to wanting to understand some of the basics on a lot of these things. And, I'm doing a lot of the little stuff, like I said a couple months back. I'm actually enrolled in a Morse code class. I'm actually enrolled in some local classes here, learning how to do other things. I take time out of my week every week to get together with a foraging group and learning, plant foraging and learning things like that. I've been rather busy the past couple of years because I know where my weaknesses lie and things I need to understand. And that's kind of what I'm trying to learn. So,
and a lot of these things are second nature to me.
Well, right,
but the foraging isn't so much. I'm just making an observation here, Nate. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm I mean, there are things that are second nature to me. There are
Mhm.
skills that I have. There are skills that I've learned over decades of my life. I mean, how many people know how to actually set up and operate a sailboat
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, that's
function?
not a skill I have, even though I'm a sailor.
Yeah. My dad had a sailboat. I spent probably from kindergarten until my early 20s on a sailboat a lot of time.
Crusader, I'm willing to bet you and I are the only two people on this stream who actually know how to do a field tracheotomy.
I do.
Yeah.
I know how to do it.
Have you ever actually done it?
No, and God forbid I ever have to.
From that giggle, there, I can guarantee you there's two people here who have.
Yeah.
More than once.
I don't care enough about people to do tracheotomy, whatever the fuck you just said.
Tracheotomy.
Yeah.
I don't care enough. I'll just let them die.
Well,
But,
You would
all
let
right,
your
guys.
big booty Latina go?
Yes. I'll be frank. If any of you needed to get one of those, I'm sorry. You're just dying there on the floor.
yeah.
All right, JMO.
Oh.
We hear you. You were wanting to
All right.
bail out, man. Go to bed.
Oh yeah. Later. You guys take it easy.
Yeah,
Have
you
a
All
too,
right,
good
man.
man.
Anybody gonna be on tomorrow?
I don't know.
Yeah, other than Pop's movie night, I'm not sure what's going on.
All right.
I might do a BS stream tomorrow if I feel like my voice is gonna hold out. I'm gonna be
All right.
honest. Tommy's kind of my test run.
Yeah,
That's
not
okay.
bad. But all
You're
right,
doing
you guys
all right,
take
man.
it easy.
All right, guy.
Yep, you too.
All right, man.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Every 5 minutes or so, whenever I'm muting, it's because I'm coughing up a lung.
Right.
Yeah.
I-
Well,
The tea with honey and lemon, man.
Well, the thing is, whatever this crud was that I had last week,
Mm-hmm.
it's behaved a lot differently than any of the other seasonal cruds I've had over the years. You know what I mean by the crud.
Yep, I know
Yeah.
The
exactly
stuff
what
that
you're
has
talking about.
about 50 different symptoms that not everybody gets all of them, but it's essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
they change
me-
about every 2 to 3 days.
Yes.
Mhm. For me, it
Mhm.
started out with a minor headache and a tickle at the back of my throat that moved up to the top of my mouth, back of the throat area.
Mm-hmm.
It stayed there for a day or so. Then I started feeling like I was running hot and cold.
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, I probably had the same thing going on that most women have happen when they're going through menopause.
the hot flashes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then it's one of these things where I started coughing with some severe nasal congestion.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tuesday, when I went into work, my boss saw me and was like, "Dude, finish what you're doing and go home."
Get the fuck out.
Because I literally looked like warmed over death.
Hmm.
And I just figured it was because of the fact that the night before, I slept for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Well, that didn't help.
Well, I got home, and because he sent me home, I did not take my work computer with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him straight up, look, if I'm feeling the same way tomorrow that I did today, I'm not coming in. I'm calling out. I get home, I'm unconscious for the next 7 hours. I wake up just in time to watch Pop's stream. Watch that. Crawl right back into bed. And I'm not awake again until sometime the next day. Symptoms pretty much gone. Temperature gone for 4 temperature checks in a row, 2 hours apart.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing that's lingering is that stupid cough.
Yeah.
It's like the Iraq mystery cough I have, turned up to about 10 or 11. And it just drives me out of my ever-loving mind.
You get the tickle on your throat, back of your throat, and it just sets you off.
Pretty much. And what seems to be the biggest issue is when I'm talking for a significant period of time, that's when it seems to want to kick in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know what you're talking about. Mine was caused by a heart medication, blood pressure medication.
And it is
Listen,
it is just
whatever it was.
beyond frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm more than happy to try to host a podcast, but if every 2 minutes I'm having to pause it so that way whoever I'm chatting with has to take over.
Yeah, or you have to mute because you're hacking up along. Yeah.
Exactly. That's not exactly conductive to the kind of casts that we do.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you got backup like tonight, you got extras. You got people who can take over.
Yeah.
You know, Jackal, I'm sure, could run this fucking show if he wanted to.
Nope. I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you little bitch. I know better than that.
Fuck you, Ron Jeremy.
Hey, careful, Jackal. You'll end up catching crabs.
Did you guys see the crab people one?
Yes, I saw that.
On the Redonkulous. That was fucking funny. By the way, what's your guys' greatest movie in my pants?
Wait, what?
What?
You guys didn't see that whole thing?
I saw it.
No.
If you remember, I posted.
Oh,
a
I
couple
know
of them
you
there.
did, Mando.
I tried to kill it.
I know you did, and it didn't work. The Mandalorian in my pants.
What?
Okay,
So the
I
whole
missed a
thing,
lot.
Yeah, I did too, apparently.
the whole thing was your favorite movie or a movie, followed by in my pants.
a movie title followed by the phrase "in my pants."
Uh-huh.
So let me call up my Gilded real quick.
Oh, because there were some good ones.
Where
Smokey
is
and the Bandit in my pants.
We didn't do that one. That would have worked.
Every which way but loose
In my pants.
Any which way you can in my pants. Oh God.
Okay.
Dirty Harry in my pants.
Now I'm not going to read all of these simply
No.
because, like I said, my voice is not exactly holding up. Here's the
Attack-
ones. Here's the ones I put: Violent Night in my pants.
Mm-hmm.
The Avengers in my pants. Godzilla in my pants. The Exorcist in my pants.
In my pants. That one actually popped up like 2 or 3 times.
The Punisher in my pants.
In my pants.
Tommy, you posted one that I immediately or shortly thereafter posted a shot back on for you.
Right.
The Girl Next Door in my pants was yours.
Yep.
My next one was the girl with the dragon tattoo
Yes.
in my pants.
And that was a perfect response.
Back to the Future in my pants.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly in my pants.
My pants.
Attack of the, Attack
Cliff
of the
had a good
50-foot
one.
Woman in my
Apocalypse Now in my pants.
In my pants. Yeah. Well, I said Full Metal Jacket in my pants.
Actually, I think
And then my
Apocalypse Now would be better for Apocalypse Now in my
Tremors.
toilet.
Well, yeah.
No,
What's
hang
the
on.
movie with the
Here's the
giant
one.
worms? Tremors.
Tremors in my pants.
Tremors in my pants.
Well, here's the one I tried to end this with, and then Tommy shot back hard.
Right.
Debbie Does Dallas in my pants.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Any other group that would have ended it, but I forgot who I was talking to.
Yep. And then I pulled up the Mandalorian in my pants.
Oh.
Outlaws Tool Shed in my pants.
Oh, no, that's not a movie.
Oh God.
The opening salvo was Teenage Cat Girls in Heat in my pants.
Yeah, that was
What the
yours.
fuck?
That was my opening salvo. Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead Do America in my pants.
Oh God, that would have been a good
that would
one.
have been a good one.
You could still
Red
do
Dawn.
that. Oh yeah, you could still do that.
Wait, which Red Dawn? The
It doesn't
original or
matter.
the 2012 one?
Doesn't matter. It's
The
just Red
original.
Dawn in my.
Right.
Okay, well, here.
You can only go with the original. The 2012 version was absolutely a bastardization and a horrible attempt at rebooting the franchise.
Yes.
Okay, here's one in the vein of the older movies. Moonraker in my pants. Or
No.
Or my second favorite 007 movie, The Spy Who Loved Me, in my pants.
Oh no,
or
no.
as St. Louis Arch said, in her pants.
No. You guys are missing the most obvious. Pussy Galore.
In my pants.
I did say it was my favorite movies, not the ones that would be most appropriate. Oh, and actually looking at my movie collection, because where I have my computer set up, directly beneath it is 3 shelves of DVDs that I've collected over the years.
Mm-hmm.
RoboCop in my pants.
In my pants.
Oh no. National Treasure in my pants.
Oh
Alien.
gosh.
Alien in my pants.
Somebody actually did the Aliens and all sequels in my pants.
Predator in my
Yep,
pants.
they did that one too.
Kingdom of Heaven in my pants.
Oh no.
Jesus.
There's a
that one
religious
did not
battle.
pop up. That did not pop up.
It
All
should have. Had I looked down at my movie collection, that one would have been up there.
Old School in my pants.
Oh God.
The Day After Tomorrow in my pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Step Brothers in my pants.
No.
Jackal
Talladega
in the-
Nights in my pants.
Jackal, in the same vein as what you just pointed out, War of the Worlds in my pants.
Yep.
That sounds like a worm pile.
All right, Tommy, here's an old one for you. 3 Amigos in my pants.
Oh God. That's just wrong.
Sahara in my pants.
It's Sahara. Yeah.
National
You guys have-
Lampoon's Vacation in my pants.
Yeah, they did the European Vacation even worse.
Fast 5 in my pants.
Oh my
Five.
god.
Hold on, there was
Terrible
another
movie,
one.
but perfect title for this. Max
You guys-
Payne in my pants.
Max Payne. Oh gosh.
The
You
video
guys-
game was great. The movie was just god awful.
You guys need to go over to Redonkulous and put these in there.
Major Pain in my pants.
Yeah, major pain in my pants.
Down Periscope in my pants.
Oh, what was
Dumb and Dumber.
Calliope's? Calliope's was funny.
Oh, Calliope had some good ones. She had some
Yeah.
singers. Let me see if I
When
can
Harry
find
Met
it again.
Sally in my pants.
By the way, this was in the butts and memes section.
I know.
Okay.
I'm in there right now looking for it.
Yeah, Calliope's
Dumb
was
and Dumber
really good.
in my pants.
Okay, A Touch of Evil in my
Yeah.
pants from Calliope.
Yep.
This one was more. I think this one's a song, not a movie, but in my opinion, it still counts. Lover Come Back in my pants. Doris
No,
Day.
that's actually a Doris Day movie.
Okay.
Maximum
That's an old
Overdrive
Doris Day
in my
movie.
pants.
Yeah, Lover Come Back in my pants.
Maximum
Oh, and you know, there's
Overdrive.
another one that I just thought of that would have been perfect, but it's too late now because of how long it's been. Transformers in my pants.
Oh.
Well,
Or in honor of our favorite red-pilled host, Jurassic Park in my pants.
That's for Rhino.
okay, so Rusty Shackelford started this, so just direct everything to him and just spam the shit out of
Oh, he's got Army of Darkness in my pants. That's fucking
Yes. this. Yes, Gone with the Wind in my pants.
hilarious. Short
That was-
Circuit in my pants.
I put in there Nazi surf ninjas must die in my pants.
Oh, here's another one that would have been good had I been thinking about it. The Amityville Horror
In my pants.
Uh,
Yeah.
Showgirls in my
Yeah,
pants.
in my pants.
What was it? I think it was. Wasn't it Scream back in the late '90s? I'll never forget that line when there's a guy on like a college campus. The guy calls me and goes, "What's your favorite scary movie?" And he's like, "Showgirls." He goes, "Have you seen the acting in that movie? Absolutely horrible." I remember that line in a movie, and I remember laughing hysterically in the theater, and everyone's looking at me like I'm weird.
Well, I think I've mentioned this with you on either a backstage or in a stream. Being a huge Star Wars nerd, I've seen all the current movies in theaters except for the ones that I wasn't old or around to actually see. When the Disney films came out and the last one was in theaters, I actually verbally was going yes when two characters in particular got shot. Hux and Poe Dameron. I
don't even
hated
know
both of those.
I don't even know who they are. I didn't even see them.
Let's just say one of them was a knockoff Han Solo, and the other one should have been shot in the first movie.
Oh, all right. Well, the last Star Wars, I remember everybody was all excited when The Farce Awakens came out,
Oh, God.
and
There were so many missed opportunities there.
yeah, that's why I just call it The Farce Awakens. And everyone's like, "You're not saying the name right." And I'm like, "No, it's a farce of a movie. Trust me, it's just
No.
better off." And that was the last one I saw in the theater.
This coming from a hardcore Star Wars fan, I agree with you.
Yeah.
The only reason I still give them a chance is, like I've said multiple times, in sci-fi, I'm a tech head. So if they've got interesting ships doing interesting things, I don't care if the actors are utter incompetence, because I can just tune them out and be paying attention to the shiny tech in the background.
Yeah. See, my brother, my very first movie I ever remember seeing in the theater was Empire Strikes Back.
That's great.
That's
movie.
a good one.
I remember sitting in the theater and my feet barely came to the end of the seat. Sitting in the front row as a kid. And that movie was absolutely amazing when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
Still one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
Well, honestly, the cinematography for all of the original trilogy movies was really amazing, especially when you stop and think about the fact that they invented most of the tech for those movies on the fly.
Right. But remember, like I said, I was small enough to the point where my feet didn't come to the end of the chair.
I heard you.
I couldn't spell cinematography, let alone tell you what the hell it meant at that age.
Oh, I know. The only reason I'm pointing that out is there are a lot of reasons to pan the new Star Wars trilogy. I mean, there are a lot of things that they completely screwed the pooch on with those movies. But if you actually sit back and don't look at it as, oh, they're completely messing up this, and this from one of my favorite things, or they're completely ignoring everything that came before, you're going to find things you can enjoy in them. It's just not a huge amount.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
because they really messed up a lot.
I was very well acquainted with an individual that owned a large chain of movie theaters. I remember when they reintroduced the remastered version of the original Star Wars, where they took everything from the old school film and they digitized it all. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do.
And how everything was brought up in HD. There was all these different, CGI things done on top of it to expand things, where they actually manipulated the soundtrack and they manipulated the surround sound within the theater. I was one of a dozen people in a private theater seeing that a week before the quote unquote sneak peek was being done. And that took me back to feeling like that kid again.
Mm-hmm.
And it was absolutely amazing. And the guy who owns that chain of movie theaters, he's now passed away, and his kids took over his big conglomerate businesses. And I know his kids, and I've asked if I can get a copy of those films, and they got rid of them all.
Yeah, they're gone.
All those remastered ones, you can't find those anywhere.
Well, and
They were actually required to destroy them.
Were they?
Yeah, they were. And here's the other thing that you might not know about. When they went and remastered the original trilogy,
Mhm.
they had to do it then, or they would have lost A New Hope completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They
because the film was degrading.
Yeah, they didn't store it properly, and the film was practically destroyed.
Yeah,
They had to go through it frame by frame.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
And-
the guy that I used to know, he's now dead. His dad used to do the old art canvas style movie posters in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Dale started doing them as a kid, working with his dad in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and did a lot of those in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. He passed away a little over a decade ago. But he was one of the artists that did like the artist rendering for the movie posters. He was one of the guys that did those.
And that's a dying art.
It is.
I
mean, his dad did stuff for John Wayne movies and a bunch of the old school spaghetti westerns, and he passed away, and all that went to an art museum. His entire collection, everything.
See,
But-
and the thing is, there's no reason any of that needs to be going away, but because everyone wants things digitally,
Right.
that's why it's just dying out rapidly and not in a good way.
Right.
And, I've seen several compilation articles talking about jobs we've lost to technology.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of them that I am probably going to cry if I ever see them actually show up on that list. Movie art posters.
Yeah.
And actual cinematographers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what did they say? I mean, there's some of the newer movies where they haven't shot anything on location. It's all done in front of a, like 85-90% of it's done on a green screen stage.
Yeah.
I mean,
You lose a lot when you do that.
right. And if you have an eye to be able to spot natural sourced information versus CGI.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, everybody thinks it's you're looking for the imperfection in the artwork.
No, you're looking for the too perfect in the artwork.
Exactly. Because everything is just trees too symmetrical, a bush too symmetrical. I mean, everything is, they don't take into consideration the flaws in information.
Okay, very ironic thing there, Crusader.
Yeah.
Terrible TV show, but some of the computer science that they talk about in it is accurate. At the very last episode of the sci-fi series Caprica, this tech
Never heard of it.
don't bother watching it. It'll make you want to gouge your eyes out. But there's a scene right near the end of the series where the guy who invented the technology that's being misused is literally looking at the simulation that he is in and going, wow, this is the most real forest I've been in one of these simulations. They actually programmed it where each tree would generate its own pattern.
Hmm.
That is a sign that they know that the technology is getting too advanced, too rapidly, and no one knows how to actually control it.
Yeah.
We had this conversation a while back with Rhino about AI.
Mhm.
I don't fear AI. I fear uncontrolled AI.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I hate to say it, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to. By the way, gentlemen, let's
go
look
lighter
at,
somewhere.
No.
Yeah.
Let's look at killing this stream because I think we've outlived our welcome on YouTube for the most part.
Yeah, we're at 2.5 hours.
2.5, and we can go hog wild, off the whales, off the whatever it is, in the after party.
Yeah, we can go completely insane if we want to.
Yes.
Heck yeah, man.
So I'm gonna say let's do that.
Yeah, that
Everybody
sounds
that
good to
joined
me,
us.
but you're the guy controlling the switches. I'm just the SOB spewing.
Let's do it.
St. Louis Arch, join us if you will, please. I would love to hear from you and talk to you, good sir, in the panel, in a safe environment.
In Tommy's safe space.
It's much worse than it is here. Anyway, yes, gentlemen, thank you for joining. Let's go ahead and roll this out. What do you think, Mr. Outlaw?
It don't matter to me. You want to play the countdown again, or?
Yeah, I'd say let's do the 30-second and get the fuck out.
All right, I'll tell
That's
you
what she said.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just play the song, one of his songs, over it, and just not do a countdown timer. What do we think?
There you go. I work with that.
All right. So, Music Is Her Name is the song that we're going to play for the outro. Again, gentlemen, Jeffrey Paul. We like to support our brothers here in the community by trying to use their music and other things and whatnot. Helps give back. Until then, gentlemen, appreciate you all coming out. Oh my god. Oh my god, man.
And to end it all.
Don't give my cat ideas.
Gentlemen, you all take care. This live stream is over.